trying out a new camera. It's a Logitech C920, I think. And I haven't had great luck with Logitechs in the past, but they were 310s, and I had one and it stopped working. I complained to the company. They sent me another one, and that one stopped working in exactly the same way. So, but I went and reviewed a whole bunch of these cameras, and Logitech still looked like the best one for what I needed. Notice that this one, in comparison to the last video I posted, has way better close-up focus, and the light seems to be better. The last video was sort of overexposed on the drawing of this pencil drawing on this scale, and in this one the pencil is showing up way darker, which is what closer to what it actually is. So here I'm just making a little sketch from memory of what my entrance to the property looks like, perhaps. Mind you, I've painted it so many times. At this point it's kind of ingrained in my head. But everything is an interpretation. There's wonderful clouds today. I'm making these at this stage. The whole thing is really about composition. How do the shapes fit into this area in some way that's compelling, that creates space, that is interesting? And it really is. Somebody asked me online yesterday, how many values do I use? And the magical number really is 3. Light, middle, dark. And somehow in the final work, these all have to be arranged in such a way as to create interest too. So whatever else the picture is, it's always that a balancing act between those 3 things. Another thing that's interesting is what kind of energy, interest, fascination do you have in the line work? So always the lines have to be alive. And you can practice doing this so that you actually like your lines. It's simpler than you might think. The trick really is you have to like the way the line comes out of your pen or pencil or your brush. That's it. Do you like the way the line comes out? Are you paying attention to the way the line comes out? Did you notice what it looks like? Okay, that's enough gabbing for this. I'm going to turn this off soon and go to, I'm going to put gouache on this. Let's see how that goes. I've got kind of a wacky setup here. I've got a tripod right in front of me. So my movement is a bit restricted, but not much. I'm just laying down a layer of warm gouache to serve as an undercoat and to unify everything together. My tripod's a little in the way. Leave that. The whole thing is to let the thing paint paint itself. Almost like an experiment of some sort. So, while there's things that I know I'm going to do, almost everything is an unknown at the start. Again, the point, I watch always how the marks are made. Never go over a mark like 20 times if you can do it once. Just let everything stay. Don't correct everything. Okay, I made a little tray for myself here where I can put things down. And that'll work okay. So now I'm just going to go and re-strengthen the structure a bit. That's a little heavier line than I want at the moment, but I'll use it, a bit of it. So this is opaque watercolor. It's a Pelican brand, German company. I've had these for years. I used them first in 1979? Never got rid of them, so now I'm using them again. Okay. I like them. It's good paint, good quality paint. This is gouache is maybe a little less fussy than oil painting or even acrylic painting. There's less cleanup. You can just leave your mess where you left it when you finished, come back to it next time, start again. You can't do that with acrylics or oils. You have to clean up all the time. So again, I'm paying attention to that idea of dark, light, and middle. Color, well, maybe I'll say a little bit about color later on. For now, I'm working darks and lights, and really paying attention to this idea of like that mark. When that mark goes down, I'm watching that it has a life. So there we go, like fast. And now leave it. Sometimes that's not always going to work for you, but you can correct it. But watch the mark and enjoy the mark. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm really enjoying how this is going down, and I'll trust that it'll work out in some way because I'm applying principles of design to the thing. So I have enough experience with that. I know it'll work out. So I can just enjoy the process. And I don't really have to worry. But at the same time, I don't really know what I'm doing. So that's just fine. Okay, put something there. I have a lot of these trays set up. And they get replenished as I run out. It's fairly washy. I'm also mixing with China white to get some opacity, more opacity and more coverage, better covering power with the lighter colors. Also sometimes with the darker ones. I'm just going to stop the video for a second, and I'm going to take this. I'm getting a little too much water on here. I'm going to take this to my hair dryer and dry it off in about 15 seconds. Okay, it's 15 seconds later and the background is dry. Lay a color in here. An undercolor is useful, and I'm using pink quite often. I suppose you could use anything. It's probably a good idea to use anything warm, because most of the colors that go on top will not be warm, they'll be cool. So there's that nice opposition. But you could really mix any warm color in this case. The other thing I'm always watching is if you fuss too much in an area, you're going to get a lot of busyness. So a useful thing to do in that case is oppose large, broad areas with areas that are more full of small things. Think while you work, but don't overthink. All you need to know is the next step. And you need to react as you're working. By react, I mean you're looking at it and you're enjoying it. Some things you enjoy less. Some things you decide to change. So what you need to know is what to keep and what to change. That's all you really need to know. And you need to keep moving forward. If you stop too long, you'll just, you'll go eat a cookie or you'll take a nap. So you can't really stop. You have to get momentum in the making. Okay, I'm going to do a more dramatic thing back there. Using some colors here. Every mark has a life. You may be painting a particular thing, but you're also painting a mark. You're painting a brushstroke. So those are the things that have to matter. Don't kill your brushstrokes. Don't kill the paint. Okay, I'm not going to do too much in this one. I'm going to take a very small brush now. And the idea of scale is interesting because there's lots of ways of dividing up the things that we see in the world. One of them is scale. So things can be big, small, middle, all kinds of things in the middle. But don't let everything remain the same size. You're just trying to these principles of variation, principles of connection, principles of unity, are just things to help you organize the work to become more fascinating to you. That's what it's about, really. So there'll be reasons, if you're looking at a picture and you're not satisfied with it, there's a reason probably related to the elements and principles of art, why that's happening, why you're responding that way. So knowing something about how the elements work really helps you to like your work more, which is really what you're after. If you like it a lot, you're going to come to it a lot. And you're going to make a lot of it. If you don't like it, doesn't matter how conscientious you are, you're not going to want to come to it very often. So right now I'm paying attention to small things, because in the world there's small things and there's large things and there's middle-sized things, and your eye and your brain have figured out how to organize all that in the world, and you notice it. You may not be, if you're not a painter, or if you're not somebody who looks at the visual world a lot and uses it and sort of dissects it, you may not be noticing that you're noticing, but you are noticing that the world is divided up into big things, little things, small things, just like you're noticing that it's divided up into dark, light, and middle. And these things help you to read space, which you're navigating all the time. Otherwise you'll walk into walls and you'll run off cliffs. So it's a survival thing, but it's also when you really start looking at how these things work, that's what painters do. That's what visual people do. They analyze how the eye is working and how we're moving through the world based on our senses of sight and others. So now I'm just putting in small things so that the eye and the brain has a chance to see something that's different from the larger things here, the more broad things, very broad, nothing small in there. Where there is something small, but it's kind of random and uncontrolled. This is more methodical, precise, tiny. So the eye will stop there, and it will see that as different from the big. Establish differences in your work. I'm maybe getting a little too fussy there. I'm going to stop soon. But I wanted to, there's something that I'm thinking about in the actual scene that I want to get in there. And that's that way that hill crests and rises. Okay, I'm going to stop this here now because I think that's enough. I really enjoy making these small pieces because there's a lot of creative things you can do with them, and it's almost like breathing. You just show up and attend to it, and it's going to work out, and it's going to create a little bit of fascination for me, hopefully for you too. So it's less planned, and it's less pre-planned. It's planned while I'm making it, but it's not pre-planned. So anyways, I'm going to stop this here now.